Hello and welcome. On the bench today I have a Roland Octa-Capture sound interface. This is an 8-channel inputs, 8-channel outputs when it comes to analog, and 2-channel inputs and 2-channel outputs when it comes to digital. We got 4 inputs at the front, we got 4 inputs at the back, plus 8 analog outputs, and the SPDIF, actually coaxial, in and out here at the back. I purchased this unit on eBay as faulty, so today we'll try and see if I can fix it. So let's not waste any more time, let me thank today's sponsor, PCBWay, and let's start working on this sound interface. The Roland Octa-Capture is a very nice interface, I've used it myself. I think the selling point is the 8-channel inputs in a very compact enclosure. So I would really like to be able to fix this one. Now, when I purchased it, it said the unit is working, but it doesn't connect to a computer via USB. So first thing first, let's power it up and let's confirm that it's working, and then we'll try and take a look what's wrong with the USB connection. Now, if you ever end up working with a Roland Octa-Capture, bear in mind that the power supply has the positive on the outside of the barrel jack. So if you decide to use something different, just bear that in mind, because it's quite unusual. Power supply is wired in, let's power it up, 3, 2, 1, go. And I'd imagine I have to press the power button. Yes, guess I'll have to hold it. Yes, Octa-Capture, starting, input. I would say looks okay to me, it looks fine, the buttons are working, 48 volts is working. Yeah, it's definitely starting, I'm assuming it's working. Now let's try and plug it into my Windows laptop and see what it does. One peculiarity of this interface, as far as I know, it doesn't require drivers, as in it does require drivers, but you don't really need to download anything. At least Windows 10, I'd imagine Windows 11 is the same. The Windows drivers are actually the manufacturer drivers with the control panel and everything else. So you just plug it in, and it loads everything that you need to download. I believe if you go on the Roland website, it basically says no drivers needed, just plug it in and it works. Oh, right. I think I found a problem. Well, I guess this is why the interface is not connecting to a computer via USB. The USB port is broken. And if I'm not mistaken, I see something shorted inside. So maybe I want to unplug this. First thing first, you never know, there must be some 5 volts at some point. So I guess the next step would be to open the interface and see whether we can replace that connector and hope that this is the only fault with the interface. I've repaired on this channel another sound interface before. It was a Focusrite 2i2. If I remember right, it had exactly the same fault, but whatever happened to the USB port, it broke the USB chip as well. So finger crossed it's not going to be the case today, but the next step is to open it up and inspect the board. Nice. Right, while I was disassembling this interface, I noticed here at the back there's a Japanese address, and here on the board, on the PCB, actually says Roland made in Japan. I had absolutely no idea that Roland was a Japanese company, and I really like what I'm seeing right now. First thing first, I see a shielded flat cable. I see those flat cables all the time in sound interfaces. They're never shielded. I'm always wondering, wouldn't that be better if it was shielded? Fair enough, everything is contained in a metal case, so you're not getting interferences from outside. But yeah, I think it is a really nice touch. I see quite a lot of branded capacitors. These are Panasonic FK series SND capacitors, are pretty good. And these brown ones here, they're Elna capacitors, which are also very good. So obviously you can see this is not a budget interface. I'll overlay on screen the price of this interface, but these are not cheap. I think this was £160, and it was broken. So you can imagine a brand new one. I have a feeling this is about 500 quid. Now, if I see that right, this interface is made of 3 PCBs. This PCB here is the input PCB. We got the 4 inputs at the front and 4 inputs at the back. And then we have a couple of ribbon cables taking the signal back to a different board. The board here on top, it says power board assembly, and it's kind of weird because yes, on the left-hand side, this is the input connector for the, I can't remember how many, 7 volts. I'll have a look in a second. But this is where the DC voltage is coming in. We got some regulations, of course. We got some inductors. We got some semiconductors probably stepping down the voltage to various levels. We also probably have this little connector here, which is taking the main supply to the front panel. But here on the right-hand side of the same board, we have the outputs. And I have a feeling that we got here on top, we have the first 4 outputs. And at the bottom, we have the other 4 outputs. So it's kind of weird that you have the same PCB. Half of it is looking after power, and the other one is looking after the sound. That being said, this is DC input. So I'd imagine, you're not dealing with mains, you're not dealing with AC, you're not dealing with anything. It's DC, this DC voltage, it's clean by definition. And then I see 2 more boards, so it's 4 boards, it's not 3. And I'd imagine one is the one with the CPU, I'd imagine, the MCU, whatever it is. And I have a feeling that this little one here is the second part of our output board, so the one housing the other 4 outputs. So let me remove the top board, and that should give me access to the bottom board. I need to access this board here, which I'd imagine is the processing board, which also obviously has the USB port on it. Alright, this is clearly the motherboard, let's call it that way. I really like how this interface is designed with these multiple PCBs for ease of servicing, I guess. Now the heart of the interface is this analog device ADSP-BF525 is a Blackfin processor. It's a RISC-based CPU, basically, which also happens to have DSP capabilities. So all the sound coming to the interface or coming out of the interface is going through this analog device little chip. To get the analog sound to and from the analog device, I see 4 AKM. These are stereo DAC/ADC, so they function as digital to analog converters, but also analog to digital converters. So unless the sound going to the analog device is coming from the USB port or from the digital inputs, well, all the inputs and outputs on this interface, they're going through the AKMs and then into the analog device, which is looking after everything, transferring them to the computer or applying some DSPs or some sort of signal processing. I believe there is something that you can do through the configuration software on this board. This little chip is the memory, the storage, that's where the firmware is installed. And this one, it's a CPLD, so I guess this is kind of like glue logic for the whole interface. Now I can clearly see the damage on the USB port. One of the pins has been pushed in when the damage happened. And if you heard what I said that this analog device has integrated USB controller, which is not a great news, because if, as I said, the damage on the USB port also damaged the USB controller, as it happened on my Focusrite, well, there's no USB controller. Well, there is, but it happens to live inside the analog device's CPU. So I really, really hope that this is not the case and we just need to replace the USB port. And I really like this modular design. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 PCBs. So something gets damaged, you don't need to replace one single massive board, which could be very expensive. If you think of this one, for example, I believe that's the headphone output. That's definitely prone to damage, and it lives on a very small PCB that can be replaced pretty simply, pretty easily. Now, I'm not sure that translates to the end user. I'm not sure how inexpensive it would make repairing this interface. I'd imagine Roland would probably charge quite some money to replace any of these PCBs, but I really, really love the design. Let's remove that main PCB and let's get ready to remove the USB port. The board is out, and at the back we have, well, at least 2 further chips. This is RAM, this is 2 megabytes. RAM chip. So at the front we have the firmware and the RAM is at the back. And this one is another AKM chip, and the internet is telling me that this is the converter from the SPDIF basically. So we got SPDIF, I guess it can't go directly to the CPU, so it goes through this AKM chip and then goes to the CPU. You can clearly see the damaged USB port. As I said, we can only hope that it's only that damage and nothing else. Now I guess I'll have to order a new USB port. I believe I have one, but without the screw hole on top. But for now, let's just remove it and then we'll move from there. Now I'd normally use a preheater, but the board is very small. I feel I can do without it. It's a small port, but I'm going to preheat the board using my hot air station. To hold the board, I'm using my Omnifixer. I really love this little third hand. I reviewed it on my second channel some time ago. It's not cheap, but it's really, really useful. So take a look if you're interested. Now I'm going to apply flux, of course, lots of flux. And first thing first, I'll go with leaded solder to reduce the melting temperature. And I'm also going to add some low melt solder. I know it's like maybe the leaded solder was not needed, but I like to add more because I believe if you have leaded solder, unleaded solder, and low melt is the best that you get to the lowest possible temperature. I might be mistaken on that. So, you know, take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. And I'm going to use this laughable giant tip. The plan is to basically make the USB port fall down, and then I'll take care of the holes and remove the solder from them. You know what? That might not work. And the tip is not large enough to touch both these joints, so I'll go with plan B, which is my desoldering gun. So I'll try and remove the solder from the big joints first. And they're attached to a big power plane, plus they're attached to the casing of the USB port itself, so the solder doesn't really melt. Hello. Well, that worked. I don't see damage on this side. Let's check on the other one. And I would say that it worked. And I do see the traces of the USB port going more or less straight to the CPU. At least two are going through an inductor and then they're going straight to the CPU. The other two, probably those are the 5 volts are coming from somewhere else. Finger crossed. Now, let me source another one of this port. I'll have to find exactly an identical one because we want one with the screw hole here. And then we'll try and replace it and cross our fingers and hope that it works. And while we're waiting for the USB socket, a quick mention to the sponsor of this video, PCBWay. If any of your projects requires a PCB, a 3D print, or sheet metal fabrication, well, PCBWay is your stop. If you follow my channel, you know I've been using PCBWay for quite a few of my projects, including PCBs and 3D prints. And I've always been extremely happy with the quality of the PCBs, the quality of the 3D prints, and the customer service. It's simply top-notch. So take a look at PCBWay.com. The link is also down below in the description. It's an affiliated link, so if you place an order through that link, you're going to help the channel. And let me thank PCBWay, because they've honestly been extremely helpful for this channel. They've been supporting me almost from the very beginning, so as much as I appreciate that some of you might not enjoy seeing these adverts in my videos, as I usually say, they make these videos possible. So please take a look at the link down below. And now let's continue with this Roland interface. USB ports have arrived. Let's make sure they are the correct ones. And I think this might be okay. The front is identical and the footprint also looks identical. Well, let's see if it fits on the PCB. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. It fits perfectly fine. The pins are where they should be. This is not soldered yet, so yes, it does align perfectly. I found the correct one. Let's solder the socket onto the PCB. And the USB socket is back in place. Let me reassemble the interface and we'll test it and see if it works.
Questo mi sa che non era così. Oddio, no.
Wait. Ah! Then, what the? Okay. So this is going to the front panel. So this is fine. So what about this? Which one am I missing? Am I missing a ribbon cable here? No. Oh, it was that one. This one, it was under. Oh, it was under the board. Oh, okay. It was there. It was just hidden under the board. That's why I had a missing ribbon cable. That's it. I couldn't see it. It was under the board. There you go. Yeah, well, that's all right. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is going to the front panel. Great. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. First thing first, let's turn it on. 3, 2, 1, go. And I guess I'll have to push the power button. 3, 2, 1, go. Yes. Okay. Yeah, well, it seems to be still working, which is good. You never know. Now, let's try the USB port. Now, this is a slow tablet, so it might take a while for the interface to become available, but it should make the USB sound first thing first, and then hopefully we'll download the driver. Let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1, go. Yes. Yes, Octa-Capture is downloading the drivers. Octa-Capture, it's still downloading the drivers again, but it's showing up, and I guess that's it. You know, if it's being recognized and Windows is doing something, there's not much a USB port has to do. Let's give it a few seconds. There we go. Device is ready. Octa-Capture is ready to go. This is taking absolutely forever. It's a very slow surface. So let's look for that. There should be an app. Octa-Capture, there you go. There we go. We got the Roland Octa-Capture. As I said, it doesn't need any drivers besides the Windows ones. That's at least last time I checked. So last thing to do is, well, to make sure that this interface actually works. Well, it seems to be working totally fine. I've wired my microphone into input 5. And you might be able to see the level here going up and down. But most importantly, well, the audio you're hearing right now is being recorded by the Octa-Capture into my Surface, and then in post-production I just linked it to the video. Now I'm hoping that this very slow Surface is not introducing all sort of clicks and pops, but I will find out in post-production. For now, this is working totally fine. I guess I might go ahead and make sure that all the inputs and outputs are working, but I don't see why not. Clearly the USB port was broken. We just didn't do anything else, but you know, to be on the safe side, I guess it makes sense to make sure that all the inputs and outputs are working. I am thoroughly impressed by the built-in quality of this sound interface. It's absolutely fantastic. I only see high quality components in it, and it's very compact. Now, granted, I found it online around £500, which is, well, like $600, so it's not a budget interface, but I mean, I haven't really used it, so I don't know in terms of signal to noise ratio and dynamics and everything, but just looking at the guts of the interface, it looks absolutely fantastic. There are no name capacitors in it, and I really love the modular construction. So if something happens to the inputs here, which is probably the board you're using most, well, you can just replace that one. I'm not sure how much it will cost to replace that one, but the idea that you don't have to replace the whole board, I think it's just great. So that was a simple repair for once. I was really dreading the idea that the USB was still not working. At that point, I don't know, there wasn't much to check, and the idea of having to replace the whole CPU was probably not feasible and probably not worth. I'm going to test this interface and ship it back to its owner. It's a friend of mine, Jack. Thank you very much for letting me play with this interface, and I'm really happy that you got what I think it is a bargain. I'm hoping it works and I'm hoping it lasts, but yeah, it looks like a brand new interface with just a broken USB port. And if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a thumb up down below, and also consider subscribing to this channel and my second channel if you like this kind of things. Don't forget I'm on Facebook and on Patreon. The links are down below in the description. There is a free tier on Patreon, so no excuses, but if you don't want to support me on Patreon, well, maybe you can buy me a coffee, and the link is also down below in the description. If you don't want to buy me a coffee, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. I wish you a great day, and I hope to see you again soon here on my channels for my next videos. Thank you very much, and goodbye. Bye bye.